Hello. Welcome to the first edition of The Real World, the show that takes different topics from today and breaks it down and makes it more easy to digest. And as always, we come to you from the power of five. Five. Like, comment, subscribe, notify, share. Those five options will help increase the increased engagement via the YouTube algorithm and get more people to listen to it and hopefully get a fan or two out of it. And now, on with the story. The first topic we're going to deal with is a simple one, and it is the changing face of music, or why don't we make love songs anymore? I can feel comfortable with this topic because, full disclosure, I am a musician. As I stated on a previous podcast, I've been doing music since I was 8. So I've been doing it for a minute and a half, a couple of minutes actually. And I've seen just about everything music has to offer. So that would help qualify me to state the viewpoints I'm about to state. And as always, these are opinions. They may be fleshed out with facts and stuff like that in either later on in the podcast or in subsequent podcasts. But for the most part, this is stuff that's coming from me, my personal experience, and how I feel about the world. Why don't we make love songs anymore? That's a very simple and very, very powerful question. I feel, correct me, I believe, or more to the point, I know that love songs have been on the decline for the past 20 to 30 years. To the point where now they're an afterthought. Way back in the 70s, you had people who felt deeply about this topic. Now, Chuck D. Public Enemy did say at one time that your general subject love is minimal, it's sex for profit. And that is true to a certain extent. Because I can always counter it and say that their general topic, which would be empowerment, is trivial, as death for profit. Who's right, who's wrong, who knows? But that's not the point. The point is the topic of love. what it is, what it stands for, where it came from, where it's going. It's a topic that a lot of people don't really like to talk about anymore. Back in the 70s, you had people like Al Green, Let's Stay Together. You had people like the Jackson 5, and subsequently later the Jacksons with songs like This Is Heartbreak Hotel, Stop, the Love You Save Might Be Your Own. Aretha Franklin with things like Sweet Thing. Back in the 60s, it was things like Daydreaming. Songs that were very light, but carried tremendous weight behind them. And back then, it was a different time. I won't say a better time, I'll say a different time. Where people were just beginning to be less oppressed and more willing to explore their newfound freedoms. And the music reflected it. It culminated in the 80s. Championed by a gentleman by the name of Luther Vandross. His songs were timeless. And they had a dual meaning. You could dance to it. You could romance to it. You do all this stuff to it. But then you could turn it on and listen to it in silence and get a whole different appreciation of it. One of the most controversial songs to ever come out of urban radio was a song by the Isley Brothers entitled Between the Sheets. This song made no bones about what it was. Let's make sweet love between the sheets. And up to that point, it was a song that was the most raw and raunchy because there was no sugarcoating it. There was no dancing around it. There were other people that were similar to it, like Teddy Pendergrass, like Harold Melvin, like Parliament Funkadelic with George Clinton. They danced around it a lot. But when that song came out, let's put it this way. At the time that song came out, I was a Jehovah's Witness. The Watchtower and Bible Tract Society banned the song. And not because of the lyrics. They banned the song because the music was seductive. The music. You didn't even have to hear the lyrics. You could listen to the music, it'll make you feel a certain way. And so they figured the best way to keep the youth away from stuff like that is to outlaw it altogether. And unfortunately, we know how that went. Because when you tell somebody they can't do it, they go out of their way to do it and do it more. Because they can't do it. Why can't I do it? And that's a human trait. The question. Why? So that song blew up. Luther Vandross, who I believe, if not the greatest, one of the top three greatest soul singers to ever grace the microphone. His songs will hit you all kinds of ways. Don't you know that? A house is not our home. Superstar. Dance with my father. That's just a smattering of the of the songs he was able to release in his time on earth. I miss him. I miss him because he wasn't afraid to let you know how he felt. Anything else associated with him is fluff for me. I'm not concerned with that. People will say, oh, he's gay, he's this, that, and the other thing. I don't care. I don't care. The only thing I care about is his music. And it was beautiful. It was timely. It's timeless. And I can't tell you how much his music changed me. After him, the Isley Brothers in the late 80s and early 90s, they ramped up their game. We're doing more feeling songs. Songs like Lost in Love from the Tracks of Life album. Spend the Night Ce Soir. Those are just two that come to mind. And the greatest person, and this was the zenith, the apex, the apogee of R&B music, was Kenneth Babyface Edmonds. And the song that immediately comes to mind is Whip Appeal. Whatever you want is all right with me, because you got that whip appeal, so whip it on me. Some might even say that's the Simpson national anthem. And I would say, no, it's not. Because as I stated in a previous video, and we'll get into more of it in future episodes, everybody's been a simp. Everybody. I don't care who you are. You will always be a simp for the one. So don't start knocking it and making fun of people. Always a simp, he's a simp. So are you. So is he. So is she. So are they. Because at some point in your life, you fell hard for another person. And you would do anything for them. So you simped. And you simped because you felt or you hoped in the back of your mind, on some level, the other person one day would say, you know what? They do a lot for me. I should give them a chance. And that's why they do what they do. And Babyface was very good at what he did. He did songs like for Karen White, Superwoman. He teamed up with L.A. Reid and made LaFace. And they did stuff for a million people. They did stuff for TLC, they did stuff for Pebbles, they did stuff for a lot of people. And then something happened. It changed. You had rap music, who, although they dabbled in it, LL Cool J's I Need Love, Slick Rick's A Teenage Love, Curtis Blow, Matt Daydreamin', they would dabble in it, but it wasn't their forte. As a matter of fact, I honestly believe that hip-hop is one of the main contributors to what's wrong with society today, because hip-hop is all about me. And yes, there were songs. As I said before, one of the greatest songs that no one pays attention to was Self-Destruction by the East Coast All-Stars. I highly recommend you listen to it. Because it's true. You're headed for self-destruction. Yes, we are being impressed by other people. Yes, the police who are supposed to serve and protect us don't do so because it's not in their best interest to do so. But we have to take advantage too. We have to take accountability too. We have to say, this has got to stop. And it's going to start with me. I haven't written a rap song in about 15 years. Closer to 20. And the last song that I wrote was a song called The Underground. And that song was about people going to a spot and enjoying themselves. That's the whole song in a nutshell. That's what the song is about. It was more love on a primitive level. Because at its base, love and sex are pretty much intertwined. With this caveat, you can love someone, no, you can have sex with someone and not love them, but you cannot love them without sexing them. Because sex is the ultimate form of love. It's the penultimate expression of it. I care about you so much that I'm willing to give of myself to you. It's pretty heavy stuff. And I talked about stuff like that. I've written a lot of songs since then that deal with love. And I think one of the greatest songs that I wrote was a song called You Are Loved. It's an instrumental. but it comes from a place of genuine feeling. Because it's saying no matter what you go through in life, no matter how many times you're knocked down, how many times you're told no, no matter how many times you are disqualified, you are put down, you are loved. And it comes from a place where that if you don't love yourself, who's going to love you? Really, really think about that for a moment. If you don't love yourself, if you don't care about yourself, who's going to do it? Now, that's not saying that you should go all in on self-love, because that can turn into narcissism. You can become a narcissist with the application of too much self-love. There's a balance. Every day, we walk a tightrope as people. Too much of anything is a bad thing. But I digress. Rap music became everything that love music was not, or love songs. Because you didn't have to worry about everybody else. You didn't have to worry about feelings, points of view, or anything like that. Rap music was and is all about me. What can I do? What have you done for me lately? And that is a very worrying attitude to have. Because when you go down that rabbit hole, you start thinking about me, I, me. You begin to worry less about the people around you. And everything becomes me, myself, and I. And that's not a good look. That's not a good look. It's not a good way to live. Because contrary to popular belief, you do need other people in your life. Because it is through those other people that you gain perspective. You learn how to move. You learn how to live. You learn how to think. You learn how to feel. You learn how to be. And rap music takes away from that. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't listen to it. But at all. I'm not saying that it's bad and that you shouldn't listen to it. It's subjective. You take out of it what you put into it. And as I said, there were songs that actually did talk about things like feelings and love and all that good stuff. These days, not so much. But they're there if you look. Personally, I don't really listen to it anymore, but that's because as a semi-professional musician, I'll call it that. I know what I like. I know what I don't like. And I'm not a big fan of today's music and any of its iterations. With the possible exception of jazz. But everything else is cookie cutter. Same old, same old. It is what it is. Now, let's go back into time. Let's go back to mid 70s, 1970s, let's say 1976. Love songs were on the they're on the come up. They're on the rise. They're ascending. Everybody and their mother was talking about some sort of love, and it started in the '60s with the free love movement. Once again, the Ozzy Brothers, love the one you're with. If you can't be with the one you love the one you're with. Free love. Sexual liberation. Sexual revolution. Which was brought on with the advent of the pill. You could then have sex with no consequences, so have at it. But about 1976, you began to see people really, really talking about love as a concept. And the music was beautiful. Fast forward to the early 80s. Again, the music was beautiful. I can think of 3 to 4 songs right off the top of my head, all by Luther Vandross. Rest in peace. That really, really struck home with me. Don't you know that? A house is not a home. Those 2 songs off his first album, Never Too Much, were basically telling the viewers, the listeners, that he was in it. He was all the way. He was not just knee deep, he was totally deep. And he wasn't gonna stop. He was gonna tell the world how he felt. And the song has stood the test of time because it simply fits. I don't care who you love or what you love. A house is not a home was very powerful because it's about breaking up and not wanting to be breaking up. It was about him not being complete. A house is not a home unless in this case, she was there saying that she's still in love with him. Never too much. He went through all this stuff. saying 1,000 kisses from you is never too much. 1,000,000 days in your arms is never too much. That's where love songs went. Because people are superficial now. They're shallow. They're not concerned about the love of many. They're more concerned with the love of self. And it's not a good look at all. Under any circumstance, any stretch of the imagination, that's not a good look. How can just thought of another one from the mid-70s. Al Green's "How Can You Mend a Broken Heart?" That song's about a guy breaking up with a girl, and he's just like, how can you go on? How can you mend a broken heart? How can you stop the rain from falling? That's where that's where stuff went wrong. Because back then, everybody was into it. Everybody was in love. Everybody wanted to be in love. Now, not so much. And they proved the point that I made earlier. More so with guys than with girls, but you can sex someone and not be in love with them, but you cannot be in love with them and not sex them. And it pains me. It really does. It pains me to think that there's so much potential. We should be much, much more than what we are. The potential is limitless. It's the people. I've said it before. I'll say it again and continue to say it till I can speak no more. Life would be so much better if people weren't in it. And that sounds very, very harsh. But hear me out. You can go outside right now. The birds will be singing. If you're blessed with a sunny day, the sun is shining. You may see neighbors going about their daily activities outside. Serene, peaceful, tranquil. You go to sit down on your front deck. You may have a glass of your favorite beverage in your hand. Put your feet up, and you just chill. How lovely is that? And then you hear screech of tires. Someone coming down the street. at speed. You hear gunfire and sirens behind them. It's ruined. That moment is gone. You'll never get it back. You'll never get it back. The world will be so much nicer, so much better if people weren't in it. And I know I'm a person. So I know what I'm saying. But I have my moments too, like everybody else. I'm not perfect. I have my moments. I have my good moments. I have my bad moments. I have my great moments. I have my horrible moments. I'm the sum total of all my experiences to this point in my life. Where did all the love songs go? Why don't we make them? It's not that we can't make them. It's that we don't make them because we won't make them. I have railed against that. Down below, you will find, in the description, you will find a link to my Spotify playlist. The music on that playlist was written by me, with the exception of one song. And I'll let you listen to it and you tell me what it is. But those songs run the gambit. Every emotion possible. And I recommend that you give it a listen. I will break down in subsequent podcasts, I will break down each song. And I will give you the lowdown on its genesis, what made me make it, how I felt while making it, and my reactions to the final finished product. And this goes to the power of 5. I encourage you all to let me know what you think. Let me know. Comment. Engage with me as I engage with you. And with that, I'm going to bring this first episode to a close. Thanks for listening. Thanks for taking the time out of your day to listen to a struggling semi-professional performer who wants nothing more than to be heard. That's it. I want to be heard. And through your engagement, we can make that possible. And with that, we will operate in the power of 5. like. Easiest, quickest way to let YouTube know you enjoy the content. Comment. May take a couple minutes. Good, bad, and indifferent. We want to know what you think. As always, we can't grow if we don't know. Subscribe. This option gives you full access to all our videos, 82 and counting. Whenever you are, wherever you are, on any device you happen to be on. Notify. Hitting the button and the bell lets you know when we have upcoming stuff, or lets you know when it's about. Normally it's like 30 minutes beforehand. Share. Hitting the share button is a way of you circumventing the algorithm by referring it directly to other people that you feel may like the content. They're all powerful by themselves. Altogether, there's no telling where we're going to go. So, once again, thank you all for allowing me into your homes. We're going to do more of these in the future. Stay tuned for them. And this is OBJ saying, thanks for dropping by. Be good to everyone. And peace out.